Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here on Tuesday, and today we're going to do a deep dive on robots. And the reason why is that I just read an article in Wall Street Journal that was titled, "Get Ready to See Robots Everywhere," and they aren't kidding. So let's talk about robots in general a little bit. But robots were first invented, industrial robots for manufacturing in the early 1960s, about 1961. And then they put the first working robot in a GM plant in the later 1960s. On the car line. So that was a long time ago now. There's been robots around in manufacturing settings for quite a while, but these robots were pretty limited. They could only maybe pick something up and hold it in place, and a human still had to do all the work on it, but not anymore. I mean, if you've seen a modern car manufacturing line, well, today there's no people within the enclosure. The robot picks up a door, say, hangs the door on the car and spot welds it right on the spot. So robots have come a long, long way. But that really isn't visible that much to most people. And the other uses of robots haven't been that visible to most people. But lately they have been. So roughly, longer ago were they invented, but roughly in the last 5 years, home robots, specifically the Roomba for vacuuming, put on the market about 5 years ago-ish, sold hundreds of thousands of units. So a lot of people have a Roomba in their home now, and that Roomba robot vacuum cleaner has AI in it to learn over time where obstacles are, where the outline of the wall is, so it can go along the wall edges, all that stuff. The same company also now makes a floor mopper as well as a vacuum, so you don't even have to mop your own floors anymore. And this is a good example of where things are headed. So just to round out the home, what are we looking for in the future? Well, probably 10 years from now or so, let's say 2030, there'll be a true home robot. And that robot will be able to oversee the little robots, do the cleaning. It will be able to do your laundry. It'll be able to unload the dishwasher and put the dishes away. It'll be able to clean the pots and pans and the dishes after dinner. It'll be able to do a lot of stuff. And this is within 10 years, is my guess. It's already in development. I mentioned in one of the early videos that Toyota has been inventing a home robot, and it's well into testing. So this is not that far away. But where else are you going to see robots? Because again, the name of this Wall Street Journal article was, "Soon you will see robots everywhere." Well, in 2018, I went to the Applied AI show in San Francisco. And every year they have a conference, except 2020, of course, because of the pandemic. But every year they've had a conference with amazing speakers from all over the world. But in the lobby before you go in, they had this very cool, cute little robot. And the robot was for stores. And what this robot already will do is greet you. It'll know your face, how AI facial recognition, and it'll have a list from their computer system of what you have bought every single time you've come in. So when this robot sees you coming, it'll say something like, "Hey David, how are you today? Last time you bought Cheerios. This time you want to get some milk to go with those Cheerios." just an example. On the same subject, I've said in another video that I saw when I was in Stop and Shop, the big grocery chain, that's a huge chain in this country, there was a robot that started following me around. Now, I figure it was doing one of two things. Either it wanted to give me information, like, did I have a question, where is this? And it would tell me, which I'm sure it will do. Or it was watching for shoplifting. So that will be happening in stores too. Robots to watch people to make sure they aren't shoplifting. So these retail stores, this is just rolling out now, right now. I saw it 2 years ago, but it's happening now. Then there will be robots in restaurants, and Starbucks, just as an example, but anywhere like that that sells coffee or snacks or whatever. So why are they doing that? Well, robots will work 24/7, 365 without a break or a day off. What's another reason? Robots, once they're trained, can do things at speeds that humans can't. For example, a brand new robot that was discussed in this journal article is being tested right now in a UPS and FedEx sorting facilities. So people have been sorting all these millions of packages that come through UPS and FedEx every day. But now, for the first time, they've got a robot starting to sort the flat paperwork envelopes that are the easiest to learn. So this is an advanced capability, right? And it really took AI to reach a level of maturity that would allow this robot not only to sort packages and sort them 50% faster than a human can, but to have the ability to recognize what each package is and where it's going just by looking at a label. Now that is also due to the development of advanced sensors, which is all coming from autonomous cars. The effort to develop autonomous cars has really accelerated the development of advanced sensors that allows a sorting robot. And come to think of it, we all know that the military is working on advanced robotics also. What would those robots do? Fight instead of people. Instead of sending people into a combat zone to get shot and killed potentially, they'll send robots. This has a lot of pluses and minuses to it that we're not going to talk about today because that's a whole separate conversation. But all of these things add up to tell you that this Wall Street Journal article was right. So for me personally, I start thinking, how does that make me feel emotionally when I walk into stores and I start seeing robots instead of people? 24-hour restaurants where the food is prepared and served by robots. How do you feel about that? On the one hand, it's sort of cool if you're up late at night, but on the other hand, the human touch is gone, right? And then the question becomes, which we talked about in my very last video, what do we do to help all these people who are displaced from these low-level service jobs? And we talked about one thing that can help with that, and that is different lines in the medical profession, right? Like not being a doctor, but nursing, or being a physician's assistant, or simply being an orderly, because that's going to take a long time to automate. That's one idea. Another idea would be things that aren't easily able to be automated, like things that require a lot of manipulation with your hands. So work in a hardware store. Why? Because with thousands of SKUs and millions of items in every single hardware store, that's going to be difficult to automate. So that's another idea. But when every time as the next 10 years goes by, you hear about or see robots taking something over, whether it's self-driving cars or trucks or actual robots that have a quasi-human appearance, you got to start thinking, okay, am I in a job that's at risk for this? Or am I in a job that's at risk for further AI development generally? And think about what your alternatives are. And I'll be giving a lot of tips on that as we go ahead. But do get ready to see tons of robots. And we'll do another area or another current event next time. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe.